the year that he's replacing Bill Belichick, he actually got the exact same record as the previous year. No difference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right now, is he a good coach? Maybe, maybe not. I would probably go with
As everyone knows, Black Monday came. A lot of head coaches were gone. Some, I think, Drew, you and I earlier in the season had talked about who we thought was going to go, who we thought was going to stay. I think for the most part, about 90% of the names we hit on. I think maybe some just haven't been official or like Mike McCarthy, for example. I thought he'd be gone. He's still there. Nick Sirianni probably is going to stick around.
Sounds like McCarthy's going to stay too.
Yeah, and the whole Zach Taylor with Cincinnati, we really don't know the finality of that. So, I mean, that was one I assumed if they missed, he'd be gone. And I haven't seen anything that says otherwise. So, for all intents and purposes, he's still their head coach. But with all the head coaching changes, we're to dive into it. Obviously, the one that's leading off, not ours, I'll say. We'll save the Raider one for a little bit later. But Jerod Mayo, first-year head coach with the Patriots, was let go after only one season. They finished with the exact same record from year to year. So they were 4-13 last year. They finished 4-13 this year. And he was let go after his first season. And Drew, should he have been fired after 1 year?
I don't think he should have been fired. And the reason I say that is, I don't know, from an outsider's perspective, I didn't watch a lot of Patriot games. So I could be way out of left field here. But for me specifically, I felt like the team was playing really hard for him. And they found a gem in Drake May. I mean, Drake May, I remember in the draft was kind of considered, is he good enough? Should he be it went from should he be the number one pick to should he even be drafted at some point? So it was kind of like, it's a risk taking him. And the Patriots said, we're going to take him. We believe in him, but he's going to sit behind a veteran quarterback and he'll learn. And I felt like maybe it wasn't a whole year, but it felt like it was good. Like Drake May kind of learned under Jacoby Brissett. And basically, I mean, no offense, but Brissett kind of set the tone of here's what not to do. Mm-hmm. So go in there and do your thing. And so Drake May, I felt like benefited from that. And so I thought that was really cool. But at the same time, I do, however, feel like the Patriots were really quick to the trigger on Jerod Mayo. I don't think – I think he deserves at least another year. And we're going to talk about Antonio Pearson a little bit, but this is kind of my thought on this is I do feel like there were good things with Mayo, and I felt like he was a good motivator. As far as a head coach, I'm not sure. I'm not in the building. I don't really follow the New England Patriots that much, but from what I have seen, it felt like the guys really responded well to him. And so, I mean, I don't know. You found a gem in your quarterback that he kind of ended up starting late. Could you make the case of, well, then how come he didn't start him right away? Okay, we can make that case, but we also have to think about like maybe it's in the best interest for not just the team but for the player. Maybe this is what Jerod Mayo was hoping for, that Drake May would see, okay, this is how you play quarterback in the NFL. Let me see it under a few games. Okay, now I have kind of an idea of what they're looking for me to do in my rookie season. Now I'm being thrown out there. Okay, now I'm going to, do whatever they need me to do. And so I felt like that's kind of where it went. But a lot of people might make the claim, well, he should have started right away. Well, maybe it wasn't going to be great. And so that's just kind of my 2 cents on that. But I felt like Jerod Mayo should have probably got at least another year, or maybe at least half the year, and see where they're at from there.
Yeah, I think what you and I agree with is 1 year is really not enough of a sample size to say if a guy is going to be a good head coach or not. At least I don't believe so. And I think when we get on this topic, this is what my gripe is with the whole Antonio Pierce thing. So, You're right. We didn't watch a whole lot of Patriots game. And if I'm being honest, I don't know if year over year, offensively or defensively, they were better. If I'm looking at their roster, I would have been shocked if they did win more than 4 games. And the fact that they won 4 games, I think is something they should be very fortunate on in general. But, to your credit, Drew, they did find a gem in Drake May, picked him, 3rd overall, I believe, in the past draft. And sure, they did not start him right away, but for all the criticism that the Patriots have gotten, I don't think not starting him week 1 is going to make a difference. What are we talking about? Maybe they get 5 wins compared to 4 wins, where there was some people that were saying that Caleb Williams, who was the number 1 overall pick, shouldn't have started quite yet. He didn't look ready. So, I mean, I think too, like, we're moving the goalposts a lot on some of these rookie quarterbacks. And in terms of the head coach, like, looking at this roster, dude, like, I do not know what Jerod Mayo was supposed to do with it. And here's what sucks. We don't know what kind of coach Jerod Mayo was going to be because he didn't last more than 1 season. I don't think 1 season is enough to build your culture. I don't think that's enough time to get all the guys or draft them or develop them the way that you have a 5-year plan that some other head coaches have. And I'm going to give you just a couple of stats. So Drake May did really good in his rookie year, threw for 66% completion, had just a little under 2,300 yards. But the leading receiver on the team offensively was a tight end in Hunter Henry. And then second from that is a guy named Douglas, I think, Demario Douglas, who is a second-year player. So it's not like he had a plethora of weapons to drive or to throw the ball down to. They still had some okay players. So I don't know what Jerod Mayo was supposed to achieve with that team that would have kept him his job. And I think what's disappointing is I'm wondering now if Jerod Mayo was just like a hire to kind of get the Rooney Rule out of the way, just so that way now they can go after another coach that they originally wanted. Because I don't feel like Jerod Mayo got a fair shake, and I don't feel like he lost the locker room. So I don't feel like this was a great move for the Patriots. And if you saw, I think they put in a request to interview Aaron Glenn, the DC of Detroit, and they denied it. And I think a lot of that is because of how they treated Jerod Mayo and how, like, literally the game hadn't even been officially called, stats confirmed yet, and yet he got a message that he's, they fired him. Yeah. I'm pretty certain they had that cooked up from the start. He could have gone, they could have won the wild card and he probably wouldn't have been back. So
Drew Code Sports Talk is supported by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is your go-to app for tickets, making it super easy to find the best deals. They even rate each ticket deal on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting your money's worth. And as a special thank you to our listeners, we've got a promo code just for you. Use Drew Code at checkout to get $20 off your first order. That's $20 off your first purchase, whether it's for the game that you've been dying to see or that concert that everybody is talking about. Head over to SeatGeek now, find your perfect seat, and use Drew Code for $20 off your first order. SeatGeek. Get your tickets to the action today.
Oh, I don't know. I think what the Patriots do is a little shifty now that Bill Belichick isn't there, and it's kind of now like a GM and Robert Kraft, I guess, kind of running operations. It just, I don't know. It felt like they did Jerod Mayo super dirty, so I wasn't a big fan of it.
Yeah, I hated getting that notification. It was right after their game. They're like, "Oh, he's fired," and I was like, "That was kind of quick. That was a real quick trigger." But yeah, man, you make some good points too. It doesn't. It almost seems like, hey, we're just hiring this guy because we couldn't find the guy that we wanted, and kind of get the Rooney Rule out of the way. He's a guy that we don't think is gonna do what we thought Bill Belichick was going to be able to do, and so he's just kind of filling a spot until we can actually find our guy. And I think that's a little messed up because I do feel like Jerod Mayo, like you said, he never lost the locker room. It's not like the guys weren't playing for him. And it's the same way I feel about Antonio Pierce. He never lost the locker room. Did we have some unfortunate events happen under Pierce or maybe under Mayo? I'm sure there were some, questionable things, but listen, he's a first-year head coach. He's not going to be perfect. I mean, it's a little concerning for me. It really is, because why was that so quick to the trigger? But other guys who, like Mike McCarthy's, are getting a real good fair shake when we've seen enough of Mike McCarthy. Like, I'm sorry, we've seen enough. It's not great. It's not terrible. But I don't think Jerod Mayo has gotten enough coaching experience to be able to say he's not good, he's not great. Like, we can't say that. Right now, is he a good coach? Maybe, maybe not. I would probably go with he's still in purgatory. He's not in heaven, he's not in hell right now. He's kind of in purgatory right now. And so that's kind of the way I look at Jerod Mayo. And so I feel like that's unfair. And I've been on here multiple times saying I believe that head coaches need at least 3 years.
Yeah.
After those 3 years, or sometimes even into that second year, you already know, okay, like even into, like with Josh McDaniels, you could tell this isn't going anywhere. It's getting worse, and he lost the locker room. When a guy hasn't lost the locker room, such as Coach Mayo here, give him another year at least. Like, at least. But anyway.
Well, here's the thing. So Bill Belichick, who basically, obviously, as everyone knows, was the head coach before Jerod Mayo, obviously, all the Super Bowls, Tom Brady, the whole story. Do you know what his record was in his first year of coaching with the New England Patriots?
I want to say 5-12.
5-11.
5-11.
So he won one more game than Jerod Mayo, and yet was given 20 years to correct the ship. Put that in perspective. Like, he was given
20 years.
He was given over 20 years. Yeah. And Bill Belichick's last year, which was last season, record was 4-13. Now, granted, Bill Belichick, I think it was like a mutual parting amongst the organization and Bill Belichick. But point being, though, is yes, with the success of Tom Brady, the Patriots dynasty, you're not going to take away from Bill Belichick. Not trying to say that Bill Belichick is a scrub. Not even trying to say that Jerod Mayo is on the same level of Bill Belichick. I think my point being is how would we know now? You only gave him one season, and in that one season, he won one less game than Bill Belichick, who he's replacing. And in fact, the year that he's replacing Bill Belichick, he actually got the exact same record as the previous year. No difference. So I think just like what you had said, it's now just like, we're just checking off a box and doing whatever, and it really has no meaning now, and it's more of a waste of time. So, and it's a disgrace too. Like, the NFL needs different groups to coach, and you can't just rely on the same group of people. Like, you got to change it up, and you'll never know that if you always go with the same formula. Because it's weird how some of these coaches, and you pointed out Mike McCarthy, I will say Mike McCarthy was given enough time to get into the playoffs, and so that does make a little bit of a difference. But like, you look at, another coach like who was around for a really long time that sucked, like Matt Eberflus was way past his time. He should have been let go like seasons ago, and he he didn't finish this season, but he probably stuck around a lot longer than he should have been. But at least he was given I think 3 or 4 seasons to even figure out, okay, what are we going to do? So yeah, let him know, Cam. Let him know.